Hello, everyone, and welcome to another virtual edition of Words from Behind the Desk, presented by Arwani Law Firm. My name is Vakai Rafai.
And I'm Rania Arwani.
First off, Rania, can we do our fist bump, please?
Yeah.
Boop! Our social distancing fist bump. Guys, if this is your first time seeing us, first off, we want to thank you so much for taking your time to tune in to our web series. If you are a repeat watcher, thank you guys so much for your love and support. We try to give you guys as much value as possible. Please, if you have not already, go ahead and like us, love us, share us. And please remember, this is live. So please engage with us, talk to us. We have times to answer some questions from our amazing guests today. So if you have something, go ahead and comment and be a part of this live with us.
Yeah. So today we're going to have a conversation with Florida House Representative for District 47, Anna Eskamani. Anna was featured on the cover of the January 2018 issue of the Time magazine as one of the 48 first-time women candidates for public office. Anna was recently recognized by the Orlando magazine for her leadership in the state, and Orlando magazine also recognized her as one of the 18 local leaders in the age of a crisis, highlighting her leadership in the state. Equality Florida marked her as one of their 2020 Voices for Equality honorees. Let's welcome Anna Eskamani.
Hi.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with y'all. Thanks for the invitation.
Anna, thank you so much for being here with us.
How busy are you? I mean, how was your week, your month, this pandemic?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, super, super busy. Actually, I just got off another Zoom. I was Zooming in with law students over at FSU. And so I was talking about COVID and the law, just some of the intersections between the legal field and policy and COVID-19. And so I just got off that Zoom, and now I'm here with y'all. So
Yay!
I'm so lucky.
So I guess after our episode today, I'm going to be having a conversation with you about what conversation you guys had in that Zoom meeting prior to ours. Right? So this doesn't end.
Totally. Well, there's been a lot of stress for law students with the bar examination, as y'all have probably been following, and just so many changes and cancellations. And so law students are really, really feeling the stress of it all, too.
Yeah, they're not happy. I can tell you that much.
Totally.
Welcome.
So, yes. What were you saying, Bukai?
There's so much going on. I feel like everybody's got that little bit of uncertainty and unhappy. So just go ahead and add law students into it as well.
Right. I know that you're not alone. Everyone is not alone. We're here for each other. We're going to figure this out. And that's been just one of my biggest reminders as we've been helping folks with unemployment and evictions, to just say, like, you have an advocate on your side, and we're going to help you however we can.
Perfect. Amazing. So, Anna, let us show the viewers, tell the viewers who is Anna Eskamani and how your upbringing played the role in your choice in running for office.
I appreciate that question. I mean, I think a lot of folks know that I come from really humble beginnings. And so I was born and raised right here in Orlando. I grew up on the east side of town. So I went to Bond Elementary School, Corn Lake Middle School, and University High School, which feels like ages ago. And my parents are immigrants from Iran, and I have a twin sister and an older brother. And we grew up in this small town, doing everything to achieve the American dream. When my family faced a crisis, my mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was a kid. And unfortunately, despite how hard she fought, she passed away when I was 13. So a lot of what I do every day is very much grounded in admiration for strong women like my mom. And wanting to do everything I can to ensure that no kid loses a parent and no parent loses a kid if we can help prevent it. Wow. And when I was going through high school and into college, I didn't have a lot of access to information about reproductive health or about dating or consent. And so I actually walked into a Planned Parenthood health center when I was 18 years old, looking for answers to these really important questions for all young people, but especially young women, and found myself in a place where I felt really valued and that I had control over my body. And so I started volunteering at Planned Parenthood after I was a patient there. And I worked there for 6 years before I made the decision to run for office back in 2018. And like many women, after the 2016 election cycle, I just felt really frustrated with how women were being treated during that campaign for the presidency, and just the complete disregard on issues like sexual assault and harassment, and family planning, and equal work, equal pay, and that tied alongside other issues that we care about, like affordable housing, like climate change, like small businesses getting support, really, really pushed me to run for office as a first-time candidate in 2018, where we flipped a legislative seat, and we have been hustling ever since. And so really proud to do this work, and proud to do it alongside so many other compassionate, empathetic people, because I will say that we can't do anything alone. And even during this pandemic, my team has been working overtime, and we have volunteers that have helped us with unemployment claims, calling constituents, see how they're doing. So we really do have a great family that helps to make sure that people are going to be taken care of.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so sorry that I did not know your mom passed away when you were 13.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This necklace is actually hers, and so I've been wearing it every day.
Oh my God.
Since she passed away. So it's a sign of Iranian culture, but for me, it's really, for my mom. She's always with me.
She is. She's definitely.
I love that. And I know, Anna, that we've had, a moment to talk before, and man, your story is just so incredible. And I'm so excited that we have a chance for everybody to hear a little bit about your story today. And it makes so much sense why you are a bold advocate, right? For women's rights, for equality, that stands so true to who you are and what it is that you fight for. I want to know, how did your boldness, how did it affect your campaign, and did you feel any pushback?
Wow. Oh yeah. I think any strong woman who runs for office, like, you're bound to get pushback, because it's not the norm, right? And I know it's the same in every field, legal field, academics, sports, entertainment, medicine. Anytime there's strong women, especially strong women of color, there's always going to be double standards, and there's going to be assumptions made about you. Right. And I think a part of your job is defining yourself before others put you into a box or label you. So it is a constant effort to just fight to be yourself, if you will. And, even right now in this campaign, like, we're getting the same old attacks that I got in 2018 of people trying to call me, radical or too extreme, or, saying that it's bad to be a feminist, and just kind of like taking all these elements of being a strong woman and turning them into a negative. And it feeds into just sexism. It feeds into a lot of the barriers that we've been working for generations to get rid of, so that it can be easier for women and women of color in the future to run for office. So it can be easier for someone who doesn't look like a typical politician to win their seat, So it's always been an interesting dynamic, but I take a lot of pride in being myself, and I get a lot of hope from the up and coming generation that are inspired by watching us, and now want to run for office, want to get involved. It's funny, as an Iranian American, I can tell y'all, I don't know what it's like for your families, but Iranian Americans are often pushed to be doctors or engineers. And you know what I mean? Like, it's very like
or the lawyer.
Right. That's like the immigrant dynamic. And so I have met many young daughters of immigrants, and also sons too, and who like were originally studying biology or medicine, chemistry, and then they volunteered to our campaign, and they switched their degrees to political science or to pre-law, and I love seeing it. We of course we need more doctors, we need more like scientists, of course, but it's really cool to see more and more young people who typically don't pursue these fields now look at it as a career path. And that's very exciting to me.
Yeah, that's so cool that well, it's not cool that there are these words that get, thrown out and created all of a sudden when you have a strong minded woman. You know what I mean? Radical,
Right.
we just get all of these like new names. Like radical is a new something that I haven't heard, but now I see how it relates to politics.
Right. Well, and when you're a strong man, you don't get any type of label, right? That's the iron. That's the
powerful, strong, astute.
Yeah.
You get all of these like, well, that's how you should be.
Yeah. But for a woman, she's a radical. She's a feminist. Really.
Right.
But you know what? You're doing an amazing job. I know you go online, live on Facebook every Friday at 5, I think.
I do. Yeah.
Like everyone watches you. You mean you're spreading the word? Like people know you. I mean, doesn't matter. Let them say whatever you want to say. People know who you are because you are actually putting yourself out there and you're letting people know who Anna is.
Thank you. Thank you, Rania. It's very sweet.
Of course.
And I'm so sorry, Rania, because I was thinking, so sorry. I think it's really interesting that you're young, you chose, because it was a decision to run for office. And it's interesting, Rania, because I don't know if you remember, but there's been women who are running for office right now or who are still in the running who you've actually inspired, Anna, like and who aren't, you're younger, you're the one who's just like I am who I am, and I'm choosing to put myself into the fight, head on. And I think that's so. How does it feel to have people looking up to you and choosing to take action like you've taken action because of you?
Well, honestly, one of the it is very courageous for anyone to put themselves in a place of leadership, whether it's in the private sector or public sector. And running for office in particular, it can be very nerve-wracking because you are putting your life on display, right? There is no privacy. Like, your finances are public, like everything is public. And of course you're being scrutinized by your voters. And so when I was thinking about running for office, it was really a hard decision. And one of the motivations for me was that exact point of that there were many other women, but also young people and folks of immigrant backgrounds or untraditional candidates, if you will, who were thinking of running for office, but they weren't going to do it unless I did, because they would come to me and say, well, if you're not going to do it, then how am I qualified? Like how, you would be the perfect candidate on it. If you're not going to run, I'm not going to run either, because you're a litmus test for me. So if you're not going to do it, I'm definitely not good enough. You know what I mean? Like there was like this new pressure of like, oh my gosh, like if we don't take this leap of courage, a lot of other people won't either. And so truly, one of the reasons why I ran for office in the first place was that I wanted to just give permission, if you will, to other people to say, you can do this too, and you should do this. And I've done anything I can during what is now my second campaign to help as many new candidates as possible, with endorsements, with helping to raise money, just giving them mentorship, because we do have to lift each other up. And power is not a scarce resource. Power is either good or bad, depends who wields it, and we can build it collectively. And so I've been really keen on doing whatever I can to lift up those voices, and it's quite humbling. It's very humbling knowing that our endorsement means something to people, and I do not take that for granted.
Your mom must be so proud.
Thank you.
Question: are we frozen?
Oh, am I frozen?
Are we frozen, all of us?
No.
I see everyone. Yeah, I see everyone.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm frozen on my end, but that's fine. So Anna,
I do virtual.
Exactly. That's all I have to say. So Anna, let's talk about the housing crisis and the pandemic. What's been going on? Like, give us an update.
Oh my goodness, it's been so bad. So we have been, working nonstop on unemployment compensation alongside food stamps access and housing security. Obviously, these issues are very interconnected, because if somebody doesn't get their unemployment benefits, they can't afford rent. and or food. So a lot of these issues are interconnected. Housing in particular has been a challenge because we already had an affordable housing crisis before the pandemic started. And so it's not like Floridians had easy access to an affordable place to put their head at night. And in fact, we already have a large population of Floridians that are what we call precariously housed, which means they live in hotels and motels. And so they don't even get the same type of protection as if they had a lease. And at the same time, these Floridians don't benefit from a lot of the CARES Act programs that have come into place to support renters and other folks with different housing dynamics. So it has been really difficult. Florida no longer has a state eviction protection order. We do have a CDC order that has provided some protection if you qualify by 5 different elements in this declaration. You're supposed to be able to sign it and then give it to your landlord that pauses an eviction if it's based on a financial pandemic-related reason, right? And so we've been trying to share that information as much as possible. You know, we have hosted several town halls with legal aid, civil legal aid organizations, and done whatever we can to slow down this tsunami of evictions. Orange County has a diversion program that has proven to be helpful, and I've been in close communication with our chief judge here in Circuit 9, alongside other judges that focus on this issue. But it's definitely been incredibly challenging, and I have spent my own money in paying for people's hotels and rent, and trying to connect constituents who have means to those that don't, to try to pay for a month of rent. So we're getting creative in whatever relief we can think of, but it's really, really challenging. And I am worried that if the CDC protection doesn't last, it's being challenged in federal court right now, that Floridians will be in an even more difficult situation.
Wow.
That's really interesting. You're out there, in the front line, working for us on our behalf. And I know that there's many agendas that you have that you are ready to get back in the running, to get back at, to get your hands back dirty in, but what is one thing that you are excited to get started when you win, or to continue after you
Oh
win
my
the
God.
election?
Yeah, there is so much to do. So much to do. So my first reaction goes towards the unemployment system as a whole. So we actually are working on legislation right now to completely revamp Florida's unemployment system, to increase the weekly benefit amount, to increase the amount of weeks available, to create an alternative base period, and put into place accountability structures. So I'm looking forward to pursuing those policy changes. Other issues that are really near and dear to our district and to my heart include taking on climate change. And so we are going to be pursuing, once more, our renewable energy goals bill, alongside pushing Florida towards decarbonization and really wanting our state to be a leader in taking on climate change and weaning ourselves off fossil fuels. And of course, issues around equity, so LGBTQ protections, which we still don't have in Florida law, alongside really lifting up the issues that impact women and girls. For example, maternal mortality rates, we know, continue to be an issue in Florida, especially for our women of color and our Black moms. So doing what we can to look at issues of racial disparities within systems. And it does also include for us the criminal legal system. And we have been proud to sponsor what would be a statutory limitation on the arrest of minors in an effort to end the school to prison pipeline. We're going to file that legislation again with Senator Randolph Bracy, and of course be very critical around issues of police accountability and doing whatever we can from a legislative perspective to hold those accountable that are impacting Black and brown lives in ways that are counter to our American values of equity and protection for all. So we have a lot of work to do. I've been a vocal supporter of Black Lives Matter, and these issues don't stop now. We haven't got into legislative session yet. And so I also penned an op-ed maybe a week ago calling out some of the governor's rhetoric around, his anti-protesting legislation, just how undemocratic that is, and the complete opposite direction of where we should be going. So that'll be a fight we're preparing for. And the last thing I'll say is I'm very big on Florida's budget, having a balanced budget, and also holding corporations accountable. And we gave away $500 million to the state's largest corporations back in April. Meanwhile, people couldn't even get their unemployment checks, and small businesses got nothing. So we're going to continue to push the biggest corporations to pay their fair share, which is more important now than ever because of the budget issues we're going to have going into the next legislative session. Florida has a very regressive revenue structure, which means a large part of our taxing comes from sales tax, and that has been negatively impacted due to the pandemic. And so to look at where our revenue comes from and to not pivot to taxing everyday people and look at corporations and what they're paying in taxes to Florida. So a lot of good work to do, that's for sure.
Woo, that was a mouthful. I'm tired. I gotta go.
I know. I am like such a policy nerd, and so
I love it. You are doing so much. I love it.
Thank you.
Anna, do you sleep? I asked this to somebody else, but do you sleep?
Barely. And I wish there were more hours in the day. And the weather is getting a little bit better, and I've had no chance to even experience it because I'm just like I'm in my home, like at my computer. So I'm looking forward to November 3rd coming and going, and because we still have a lot of work to do. Like people are still struggling right now. So I spent like an hour and a half this morning just responding back to unemployment emails. And that's what we have to do because the demand is still so high of people who are suffering.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow.
So one last question. What do you want your voters to know about you and why they should vote for you?
Well, my first thought is please.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Anna, but you got our votes here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so grateful. I mean, my first thought was just please just vote, right? Like just vote in general because every vote counts, and we need folks to engage in the process and vote by mail is already here. People are already voting, and then early vote starts October 19th. Election day is November 3rd. So just be ready to vote. Do your research. Right. If you live in District 47, you should vote for me because I am not only the most qualified candidate in this race when it comes to my nonprofit background experience, my academic experience, alongside my experience now as a lawmaker, knowing how the process works and being able to fight for this district and bring money back to the district, which we've done with arts and culture funding and human trafficking prevention dollars. Yeah. But you also want a lawmaker that prioritizes people over politics and people over the biggest special interests. And I have been so proud to challenge the status quo in Tallahassee, to show up for our constituents, whether they're Republican, Democrat, NPA, any age, any background, whether they can vote or not. We are there to help, and we are there to demonstrate that we can be an effective and authentic lawmaker all at the same time. And to definitely visit our website to learn more and know that under a district served by Representative Eskamani, you will never be left behind.
No. Another thing we did not mention, I mean, of course, we mentioned it, but we know women's rights. You're an advocate for women's rights, for equal protection. It is extremely important nowadays, especially with the climate. We have someone who is on our side. So definitely,
yes.
Anna, you are it.
I remember.
You can take off on November 3rd, that night only after you win. That night
only. And I know, hey, we got a lot of work to do. And like you said, like especially for women's health and women's rights, like all these issues are on the line. Like they truly are. And so we are nowhere near equal. And it's just so we talked about it earlier. Like I am literally like my opposition literally attacks me for caring about women's issues. Like
that is crazy. I cannot. I can't.
One of they had a yard sign the other day and it said, women, we hear you. And it's like, women, we hear you. Like, what does that even mean? You know,
you heard me. Thank you.
Right. And like, no, it's time that women need to have a place where all decisions are made, just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg said. May she rest in peace. And so we are not there yet. We have a lot of work to do. And this pandemic, everyone has been impacted by COVID-19, but women and women of color in particular, who are essential workers and who also are service workers. So they've been overworking during a pandemic and also underemployed, right? And so these are two different areas of employment where women of color have really carried the brunt of the burden. And we need to elect people who understand that and who care about that. So
right.
I'm so proud to do this work, and I'm grateful for y'all's support. And thank you for lifting up women's voices in the legal field. Super, super important. And I'm just very, very grateful.
Yay! And mic drop. Ana Eskamani. Ana Eskamani. Oh my gosh. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Guys, if you're just now joining us, please just go ahead and rewind the whole thing. That way you get a full 360 of who this young lady is, this woman who is trailblazing a way for other women to follow behind her and to become a woman who has ran for office. Guys, if you guys are looking for more information, please go to anaforflorida.com. It is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Ana, we appreciate you so much joining us and giving us a little bit of everything it is that you're doing. We know your time is super valuable, and so we appreciate you taking the time to educate the community more so and allow people to get to know who you are and what it is that you stand for.
Thank you. Truly, this was such a treat. I hope folks stay healthy, stay safe, and make sure you vote.
Yes, vote.
Vote
later.
Again. Guys, have a good one. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Rania, I want to do another. It's the other way now. Other way now. Boom. Man, Ana is incredible. I love her. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is Words from Behind the Desk, presented by Arwani Law Firm. Please make sure you like us, share us. You know, if you have a question, if you want more information, visit anaforflorida.com or email us at manager@arwanilawfirm.com if you have any questions or any comments. If not, until next week, guys, we will see you back here wherever you're seeing us at. We'll be back here.
We'll be home. Whatever you do.
We'll be home doing our thing.
Well, yeah.
Boom. Have a good one, guys. Have a good week.